Hello, and welcome to episode 7, where Manny is lost in the woods and yet soldiering on regardless. As you watch this, I'd like you to tell me in the comments, is Salvador Limones a savior of lemons, thus making Manny some kind of fruit? Or is he just savior lemons? On one hand, Salvador drafts Manny into a larger cause, which Manny needed desperately. And yet, part of that cause is chasing after a woman whom he is insisting he doesn't love. A woman that we later find out doesn't want to be rescued. And that whole thing is kinda lemony. Incidentally, if you are a lemon at spelling the word lemon, you might actually spell it melon. The saying for this Loteria card is, I can take it or leave it. In the first video, I promised you lots of Loteria cards, and I've shown you some rather important ones so far, but the Loteria cards come flying so fast and furious now that you're gonna have to hold on to your Mexican Loteria cards if you're trying to play along. If you were playing this game yourself, you'd probably run to a lot of random places and abuse a lot of random things with the scythe. Manny doesn't like to use a scythe for some reason, but in the end you would end up in this open closet over here, the one with the no parking sign. And when you get here, hopefully you don't try to use every single item in your inventory on the machine.
These babies are going to war. It's Domino's mouthpiece. Why am I carrying this around?
I find this can of Calavera up here oddly appropriate to this scene as well, because he's preserving his identity. And now that you have this thing, you climb up to Domino's office and use it on his punching bag. You try to use it to log into Domino's computer. You climb up higher and you try to feed it to the pigeons, because you just can't figure out that all you gotta do is this.
Wow, that made a perfect impression of my teeth, and like quite a chalky aftertaste too.
The gargoyles on these walls look like Quetzalcoatl. It looks like that Manny is being watched by a savior god at the same time as he's being watched by the savior of lemons.
Agent Calavera and 2 guests.
I'm really glad that Manny has finally accepted his new role. But don't you think that copying Salvador exactly is just overdoing it a little bit?
Salvador Limones, guest.
Witness the traditional quest item transfer.
Check these babies out.
Excellent, Manuel. With these, I can breed an entire army of winged messengers. Our revolution can spread now across the land, carried on the shimmering wings of justice.
So it looks like they both read comic books.
Agent Calavera.
I myself would also like to spread across the land.
But you can't. We need your dental work here to access the computer. I am sorry, but freedom has its price.
And today freedom is on the discount rack because it only costs a set of dentures and 2 eggs.
Manny, this looks like a perfect impression of your teeth. We can use this as a mold to make a fake set of teeth and get into the computer system that way.
Good work, soldier. You are a friend of the revolution, Agent Calavera.
And
now,
we are done looking at this suit.
let me be of service to you.
You must go to the town of Rubalcaba, my friend, if you want to find your
That
lost
went
soul.
right over Manny's head. Salvador said, your lost soul. He never mentioned
How
Meche.
do you know where she is?
I don't, but everyone who wants to get to the ninth underworld must cross the Sea of Lament, and therefore must go to Rubalcaba to get passage on a ship. As long as you get there before she does, you'll find her. But it may be quite a wait.
I'll wait as long as it takes.
Manuel, are you in love with her?
Love? Love is for the living, Sal.
This poor guy. He is wishing that he lost his capacity to love as thoroughly as the pigeons have lost their feathers.
I'm only after her for one reason. She's my ticket out of here.
What would make somebody wish that they couldn't love or be loved anymore?
That was some tunnel. I'm all the way to the edge of the Petrified Forest.
Now this tree Loteria card has a saying that talks about looking for some shade to rest in. Unless he goes back inside the tree stump, Manny isn't going to find any shade from these trees because they are upside down. If you take a look at the tops of these trees, these are not dead trees. The tops of these trees are shaped like roots. And when we get to the next area, pay attention to the parts that are stuck underground because they are shaped like branches.
That Salvador really knows how to do this espionage thing with style. After all I did to get out of town, I am never going back to that place again. At least not without Mechi.
There's one guy who has no use for fortune-telling cards. He predicts his own future. Gorgeous sunset in the west. Spooky dark ground here. Tree roots don't branch out like this.
Gladys, my friend, why are you crying?
Manny? Oh, Manny, they fired me!
Me too, buddy.
You don't understand, Manny. I was created just to do that job. It's the only thing that makes me happy. It's like they reached into my chest and pulled out my heart and threw it into the woods to...
Gladys, what have you done?
He's done and decided that love is only for employed drivers.
Oh, Gladys.
And here is your heart that's been brutally ripped out of a chest. Loteria card. And let's do them all at once, shall we? Those spiders are yet another Loteria card. And this sign will be yet another Loteria card. So what do you think about all these Loteria cards hiding in this game for 20 years and never being discussed online? Let's immediately fix that by discussing them in the comments. Did I miss any? Which board is winning?
Dick. Shoot. These spiders have Gladys' heart in their web.
The Loteria card also tells you how to beat these spiders with a stick. So let's look for some sticks.
It's an ugly pile of bones, like me.
And that, I believe, is Manny's outfit talking.
I guess I could always use a spare.
Nowhere else in this game would a line like that fit him.
Soup's on. Huh, they don't seem very interested in that bone I put in there.
We also need a different stick. Periodically, it's easy to forget that he's a reaper carrying around a scythe.
My scythe. I like to keep it next to where my heart used to be.
And he wonders where Gladys got the idea to rip his own heart out. If he did that with the spider, he'd have one angry spider.
Oh, poor spiders. No more demon heart to eat. What can they catch in that? Owls?
This joke is based on really rare Aztec mythology. Spiders and owls are both sacred to Mictlantecutli, who is the god of death in the ninth underworld. I admit I've had some trouble translating the saying that comes with the heart. It seems to be saying, "Don't miss me, heart. I'll be back in the truck."
It's still beating.
If you like chasing pigeons with Robert Frost, don't forget to try and use this heart.
If I were Scottish, I might be able to play something on it, but I'm not.
Because doing that would be
This belongs to
cultural
Gladys.
appropriation. That would be so inappropriate for a skeleton named Calavera.
Heart! Heart is good. Be good to Heart. Don't tear out Heart. Heart is good. Strong, beating good, Heart. Hey, is that my car?
Hooray! He is done missing his heart and he's back in the truck.
Mr. Lamont, I assure you the missing woman will be found. I will personally track her down myself.
Just like you personally picked her up from the land of the living.
That was my intention, but Agent Calavera somehow got to her first.
Wait, how does he know about the whole agent thing?
We gave you all the best
One of the
advice.
pigeons must have been a stool pigeon.
So how was it?
Pigeons explain everything.
Sneak in there and eat your lunch. Oh, now, Hector, you can't get too mad at Domino. That wasn't his fault. Oh, I can, Dom. You should know I can get too mad. But not at Domino. After all, he wasn't in charge of this operation. At least, not until now. Hector, no! Marigolds.
Didn't he say he wasn't going to take the fall for this?
I was expecting tulips. Well, maybe Mr. Calavera.
The traditional Day of the Dead flower instead of the traditional funeral flower.
Up here. The sooner he's sprouted and we can get back to business, the better.
Wanna go for a ride?
I thought you'd never ask. Oh! Sorry.
And that is the ideal automobile. That is the hearse from heaven, the hot rod from hell. That is the bone machine, straight from Tom Wyatt's album of the same name. What? Everyone's got a bit of Gladys in them.
Híjole, mano. What sort of unholy Christmas tree farm is this, Gladys?
No, this is a Christmas tree. It's fresh and fragrant, beautiful in any season. The only thing that jingle monster over there has in common with this Christmas tree is the color of the ground it's standing on and the color of the sky behind it. I don't think even Jack Skellington would confuse that monster over there with a real Christmas tree.
Gladys?
Manny, check out this wheelbarrow, will you? With a couple of ATV nubby tires on the back and a two-stroke lawnmower engine, we could make one sweet go-kart.
And after that, Manny will trade his scythe for a Swiss Army knife.
Gladys, what are they doing to that tree?
Oh, city boy! You work all day in a 60-story skyscraper, but didn't you ever wonder what it was made of? The power of these trees, man. They suck it out. It's like cement.
Is that why the town's called El Marrow?
Huh? Never thought of that. Maybe so.
Now you know what happens when a Christmas tree dies. It's petrified, hollowed out by force, and used for building materials. And you thought life wasn't fair.
This forest sucks the marrow out of everything.
It sure does. Just look at what happened to this bone.
Ooh, Something has sucked the marrow out.
And Meche gets to be here alone. Just her in her dress like Alice in Wonderland. Without even Gladys grinning like the Cheshire Cat to keep her company. Just her and winged things.
Ooh, careful, Manny! With the harmonic balancer turned off, those pumps might shake that tree apart. Oh, but... Oh! If we shook the tree down, those pumps would dislodge, and I could make high-lift shocks out of them for the bone wagon.
You didn't really think that Gladys would trade the bone wagon for a wheelbarrow.
Sure.
That would be like Manny trading the scythe for a pair of nail clippers. This puzzle is easier and more fun if you do this.
Hey, Manny! What are you doing?
Outside of the entertainment value, that didn't do what I had hoped.
This puzzle takes a while even if you know how to do it. I find tank controls help a little bit if you could remember which way is back, and it also helps to start at the edges and work your way in. But even if you don't understand the strategy of this puzzle and you just go back and forth over these pipes randomly, it'll kinda just solve itself when this happens.
Until now we scraped along the ground like rats, but from now on we soar like eagles. Yeah, like eagles on pogo sticks.
All I can do with that metaphor is steal it.
What a relief. I was getting concerned that our transportation wasn't ostentatious enough.
Get in, or are you afraid of heights?
Did Gladys build that car that high just so he can make that short joke? And now the car can walk over these rocks.
I'm thinking the next project should be wings.
See that? Even Manny has a bit of Gladys in him. I'd like to make a joke about this orange face with the bad troll doll comb over from hell, but it doesn't resemble anyone human.
Manny, what are you doing? Don't you know what's on the other side of that gate?
Ava's summer
Out of
home.
the forest.
Demon beavers, Manny. They'll make you into a dam.
Relax, Geppetto. I'm not made of wood.
But Manny, they don't use wood.
And this is the only time you'll see Manny scared of anything. He already knows what to do.
I wonder if this thing is rated for rodents.
See? He's figured it out. And these are the bones of Manny's predecessors. All those poor souls who came here before him and never left.
These monsters have made a dam out of human bones.
You could say that these souls have been damned. Here, Manny reminds me of a Russian soldier in World War II. They had to pick up the ammunition and the weapons of people who had fallen in front of them so that they can press onward. He may not look frightened anymore, but I assure you, he's being traumatized.
Ah, to sleep. Perchance to have nightmares about spiders and beavers.
I did not mean to get Manny this close to the badgers.
That's not on fire.
Sometimes soldiers need to retreat from a firefight to return another day. If you put out their fire on the bridge, they catch on fire before they go in the water, or they jump in the water not on fire and catch on fire as soon as they hit the water, which makes absolutely no sense. I admit this is one thing in this game that just doesn't make any sense. You have to go over here to have any effect on these beavers. The looks on these faces say that it's not always a good thing to be first. When Manny stands here next to the fallen and uses their bones to advance his agenda, he seems very much a real soldier. And yet, a different and more inventive adventure game character could have rigged the fire extinguisher to shoot the bones, and then he'd have an honest firearm with which he could Rambo all these little devils right off the bridge. Still, you gotta give this guy some credit. He's doing pretty good. For a guy who just this morning could have auditioned for Death of a Salesman if he hadn't been already dead. At least Manny is aligning his damage type to the monster's weakness. He could have just tried to build a giant club from all these bones and whacked things with it. Oh well. I guess it's too late to talk about the jacket-based inventory system that I was going to talk about here. First, I'd mention how the close-ups make it look like he's throwing his own bones into the water. This is his only outfit where his bones are exposed. He can't cover up what he is anymore. And then I'd go on to talk about La Calavera Katrina, the dressed-up skeleton again. And on the next inventory-based close-up, I would point out how these make you really face whatever it is he's wearing. A lot more than the usual top-down 3D view tank control-y kind of game would. Finally, I'd point out this icon that Double Fine added to the game when they remastered it, and how accurately it captures Manny's layered up, buttoned down tie that is gonna jump up and choke him sense of sartorial style, and how that shows that Double Fine understood Manny's role as the dressed up skeleton, and how the inventory system works to emphasize that. But apparently I got too distracted by a different adventure game character who, on second thought, would turn the fire extinguisher into a bone shard shooting landmine that would explode the bridge, collapse the cavern, and, well, I guess we all should be glad that he's not here. Thanks for watching. I hope that you are now convinced that the Loteria really had been placed in this game. All these hidden objects hiding for 20 years in this game, and nobody discusses them online. I am the first. Now, why is that? We need to rectify that right away. You need to go and share this video everywhere. Reddit, whatever forums you have of vintage games, Grim Fandango, good old games, anything you can think of, to show people these hidden items that have been hiding in plain sight for 20 years. They need to be on the internet. Let's get it done, folks. So, like and subscribe, and you do want to see my next video, because I am going to put on my detective hat again and listen closely. And when you hear it, you can't unhear it, because you can hear Manny step over over the fence that's twice as high as, that's almost as high as he is, and then completely accidentally fall into a river. After doing this on the ledge, you wouldn't really believe that that's an accident now, would you? Now, why would he do that? There's an answer hiding in plain sight to that question as well. So see you next time for more Grim Fandango mysteries discovered and explained. Subscribe now.